So I certainly think that you're diplomatic, consistent, and foremost compassionate.
Use more than 3 words, but like holding people accountable, compassionate, and you're interested in people's personal stories. I think that's
kind, genuine, and charismatic are probably the best 3 general overall words to describe you.
I said you're a visionary because you always are very creative and insightful, especially with planning. You always see the bigger picture. You're very consistent, which I appreciate, and you're very empathetic.
Thank you.
I would say that you are compassionate, strategic, and authentic.
The very first one that I think about is like a go-getter. Like, you are always on top of your stuff, and like even when you're not on top of your stuff, whenever things come up, you're always a person like, I can go do that, I can handle this. And it's not even like I can handle this and I'm gonna take it and it's gonna be crappy. Like, you take it and you do it so well. The second one I think about is you're very generous. You're so kind. You're always thinking about people. Like, you always think about the whole person. And I think like I love that. I love how kind you are, like, to your co-workers and like also to your staff members. Thorough. That was my word. You are very thorough. So it's like you take an idea and it's not just like, oh, this is a great idea, let's run with it. It's like, oh, this is a great idea, let's sit down and talk about how we're going to get these ideas.
So the one that I appreciate the most would be accountability.
I think you like holding people accountable, but with a smile, making sure stuff gets done. But also, I mean, in res life, try to have fun and doing it if possible.
I think you kind of fall in this really nice small category of people where they're really great at doing task-oriented things and getting the job done, but they're also super strong in relationship-oriented style of leadership. So for you, that's fairly hard to do because most people are either one or the other. But for you, you're great with connecting with your people, and because you're great with connecting with them, you're easily able to inspire them to get the task done.
Your greatest strength, you do look 3 steps ahead. You're very logical, and you always come with a plan.
Decision-making skills, you always hold us accountable, and look at me, and your ability to communicate well. I think you have a way with your words that you're able to reach other people and connect. Like, I don't know if you know that, like, you're very personable, and so like it's very easy to break down our walls and like foster a genuine relationship with you, just about how, like, by the way you communicate. So yeah.
I think that your greatest strengths as a leader are in making me feel valued and seen and heard. So whether that's something like listening to feedback or listening to ideas, or something as simple as asking how I'm doing and being really interested in my genuine answer as opposed to just like, oh, I'm fine. So in making me feel valued as a person on your team.
Because you're so good at developing those relationship oriented with kind of like the people you work with, is that we want to help you, but you're so great at kind of getting into that workflow that sometimes you just kind of pile drive and get all the tasks done, and it's great, and like that's, you can't always disrupt that flow. But also when I'm here and I'm like, I want to help you because you now inspired me to do great work, I was like, sometimes your delegation would be a place where you might want to work on.
I think you're very good at decision making, and coming from someone who is not very great at decision making, I have to pull in all this information and it takes me forever, so I definitely appreciate it. But your decision making can make you appear steadfast or apathetic, and I think that just totally doesn't describe you, because I think you're such a compassionate individual, and it's why I love working for you, that it's weird that your decision making makes you such a good boss, but it comes off as other people as you're being very sturdy and very
unflexible, maybe?
Like, no emotion is displayed when you're having some decisions.
Okay, that's good.
I think sometimes you are hard on yourself, and I know that's because like you're very like goal-oriented, you're very driven and very passionate, and because you're a visionary, you see the bigger picture. So yeah, like, just remain confident, because you tell us that, but I don't know if sometimes you do that for yourself in some aspects.
In you knowing, like, you being that green, and like you knowing, like, you already thinking 3 steps ahead, that sometimes like you already foreseeing a problem and it might not be a problem, but like just sitting back and like really listening intently and being like, okay, what did they really say their problem was? I think this might be their problem, but like what is really their problem, I think would be an area for growth.
Work smarter, not harder, and open to feedback and constructive criticism.
What makes working for you so easy is that I know you care, and I know that no matter what you say, I know you want me to be better than what I am now. And so I know that there's a trust, there's a development that comes with trusting one another. Mm-hmm.
It's how quick you get to know people. That makes it easy for me to show up. It makes me want to show up. It makes me want to actually have a good time while I'm doing the work.
Like, a great thing that you do is that you don't leave me or anybody else that I know of, you don't leave them feeling small when you correct them.
Like, you have a good demeanor, you're very endearing, and very reassuring. Like, you're aware of other people and like the different communities that everyone comes from, and you're always learning about, you know, ways to improve or ways that I can improve. So I really like that.
It's just really easy to be comfortable around you. So it gets really easy to be open and transparent with you.
Sometimes, like, if people have ideas, like, you'll be the first to like shoot out an idea because you already have your idea. Like, you already have, like, you already did research on this and you read studies on that, and like you've done this and you've done that, and so like you're quick to like shoot them out, and you're quick to be like the first one to like throw it out, which like isn't a bad thing all the time. But then sometimes it can look one or two ways. It can look like, oh, you're not giving this person an opportunity to speak, but like knowing you know that's not a thing. Like, you always want somebody's voice to be heard, but like it can be taken that way if somebody doesn't know you. And then the second way it can be taken is like some people could look at it and be like, oh, she's a know-it-all type of thing. But again, like, knowing who you are, it's not so much like you're a know-it-all, you just want to be a resource. So I guess like being cognizant of like how that can come off to people, because that's just not who you are.
Yeah. You kind of like not force us, but I've seen the tactic or the strategic planning behind pairing us with different people who think differently, because we can get so stuck in our ways. And that's a really big challenge for me, because I'm type A and I'm like, no, it just needs XYZ, period, that's it. And you pair us with people who are very creative, or think outside the box, come from different backgrounds, and I think that was really challenging for me, because
I think, just to kind of give an overall general view, what really kind of sealed the deal for me is you as a leader is probably more the fact where it's like we have a great connection, I think, and you know, like I said, that inspires me to how I do my work, and I think you enjoy doing your work, but also because we have that good relationship, it also goes outside of work, and so a lot of people find that really hard to balance. And I think what's really nice about working with you is when, if I come in and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you right now as boss, just solely a boss, you're really good about being able to switch that over and just keeping it just like that. Versus like if I need to talk to you outside, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a little bit of mentorship, but also this is more personal. You're very good at kind of about, all right, well, work life excluded here maybe is a good option to do. So I think that's something that's a really good way. You're able to switch back and forth, but also keep both lives kind of intertwined and connected.
You've always been a leader, but you don't let your title get ahead of yourself. I don't know if that's the right wording. Or you know how to lead in silence, and you know how to lead in a group of people. Like, you're a boss. You're a leader.
I think this year you were put in a position where you were really kind of forced to step up and be a bigger leader, and I know that that's been something that's maybe stressful, but I think it's something that you've done really gracefully, and I'm proud of you.
She's A+, so give her an A+.
I'll totally put that in.